to another NY Patriot episode. This is a special one. We're going live today. I got my partner in crime, Lux, with me from the Occult Rejects. He's joining in as well. And I'm finally having on somebody that, no lie, we've probably talked about doing something on and off for the last 6 months. And it just hasn't happened. Me, it's easier for me to do things during the day. And he hit me up and he's like, yo, you want to record today? And I was like, fuck yeah, I got the time. Let's finally make it happen. So today I have Chris from RantCast with us today. Chris, let everybody know where they can find your stuff, please.
You can find me. I do most of my shit on Twitter at rain.rant, but I got Facebook at rain.rantcast / or it's facebook.com/rain.rantcast with the number 1. Any podcast platform that you listen to, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google.
Awesome. Nice.
Just search Rain.
And you know what?
Lewis Black.
We're on the air as well. Our listeners probably have no idea, but I do have to give this man a big thank you for getting us on Tinfoil Hat, because you must have probably told me half a dozen times how I just told Sam about this, I just told Sam about that. I'm sure you constantly saying something to him was a big reason why we got on there, and I cannot thank you, any more than I possibly could. So thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, other people had to been listening to you, but it was coincidence that I messaged him and boom, you guys got offered to go on the show. So
well, he didn't. You told me you told him about us before he ever even contacted me. So because I never contacted him, he contacted us, and I'm assuming it was probably you and other people. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah, the Shriner stuff that you did, and and all the stuff you guys are doing with the Masonic stuff is like, wow.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
Yeah,
Seriously,
it was back then. I remember that. I remember you bringing up the Shriner series, and I think that's right.
Oh yeah, because I come from Iowa, and I'm from a place called Sioux City, Iowa, up there on the river. It's like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes north of Omaha. Where the Franklin cover-up happened. But up there, they have a massive Shriner temple up there, as well as a massive Scottish Rite, no windows.
Yo, those things are so shady. There's actually a fan that I may end up having on the show. I want to see. She makes it seem like she's got some stuff to tell, but I'm not sure if she wants to be too honest about it. But there is a female fan of ours, loves our stuff, that might want to come on for a totally different topic. But growing up was in the Shriner Circus. And
really?
I find it very, very interesting. As a child, she was in the Shriner Circus, and she made it seem to me that she's got plenty of stories she can tell, but I haven't heard any of them yet. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, the Shriners, it's just wild. It's wild to work your way up to be a clown,
Well, yeah, and that's what's so ironic about it, is that once they get all the way to the top, and you get into that inner order, then they tell you to forget everything you've learned like thus far, and it's like, so yeah, you worked for the last 15-20 years to get all the way up there, and they're like, yeah, it's forget all that stuff we told you. Now it's going to be totally different.
Yeah, like I said, where I come from, I mean, the Shriner Circus, and I mean, it is a big 3-story temple. I mean, it's a massive building. Right on the side of it is the Eastern Star.
Yeah,
and yeah. That's why when you guys did the Shriner series, it's like, damn.
You know what? We even
it's all connected. They're all connected.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to. Oh, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say I even have. I don't want to mention the name, because I'm not sure how they would be about me bringing it up. But there's like somebody that we all personally kind of know, who does podcasting, who after I put out the Moose Lodge, me and Lux did the Moose Lodge stuff, even hit me up and was like, growing up as a child, I had family in the Moose Lodge and I was there all the time and blah, blah, blah. So it's weird how these small little things are all over the place and nobody really knows what the hell's going on inside these things.
Yeah, and they are I mean, they're everywhere. Every small town. Like the smallest towns you'll see the square and compass right
Yeah,
on the this town sign as you come
I
into
mean,
town.
I grew up in the smallest little town out in fucking Long Island, and I even still remember it. It's still fucking open today. They had a fucking Knights of Columbus there. Now I know some people are like, "What the fuck is Knights of Columbus?" I mean, it's another order, but it was in a town that you would not think would have anything like that at all. It's like, what's really there? It just seemed really weird that a lodge of anything was even in that town because it didn't fit in. It didn't fit in the way the town looked. Just put it that way.
Well, where I'm from, they had the Scottish Rite, the Shriners, the Elks. There was a Moose Lodge. There's multiple blue lodges that I don't even know what the hell they are. They're just you'll just see. I mean, there's one that's literally it's blue. I mean, the whole building's blue. It's got the compass and square on it. It's all over the place because it must have been one of the first. I mean, we got an obelisk up on the top of the hill for Sergeant Floyd, who died on the Lewis and Clark,
Yes.
which someone mentioned that in a podcast. I can't remember who it was. It might have been on a tinfoil hat. But they got a big ass obelisk up on the hill as you come into town. So
Yeah, it's weird if you go through the.
and they're connected to Chicago because Sioux City is known as Little Chicago because that's where Capone and everybody would go to like Homer, Nebraska, and around Sioux City and stuff. That's where they'd hide out.
Fucking obelisk. I hate to. Yeah, I might regret saying this only because like me and Lux are pressed for time that we're covering a huge series, but we did mention something about possibly doing something on a well-known Christmas show that I'm sure all of us as kids and our parents and our kids will probably see that has tons of occult symbolism in it. And I'm starting to think, and I hate to say this, and I don't want people to think I'm shitting on Christianity or fucking holidays, but I'm starting to think that fucking little Christmas tree we got standing up in our living room does go back to something that the obelisk is representing as well.
The Christmas tree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think
When you put
everybody's got
balls
an obelisk inside their fucking living room and have no idea what the
Yeah,
fuck
and then
it
you hang some balls off it. So
is. Silver and gold, the moon and the sun. Silver and gold. And then
yeah,
and
man,
then
this is Saturnalia time.
Yeah,
This is the
you
time
put
of
the tinsel around the tree, and it starts to look like that pedo swirl as you go down and down. If you look from the top of the tree down, you got silver and gold spiraling. I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much, but I definitely think that thing that everybody sits around and decorates, they have no idea what the fuck it actually is.
Yeah.
no.
And it's not like it's
No,
the
they don't.
actual birthday of Jesus or anything like that, too. Because I mean, traditionally, it was just a celebration of winter solstice. So, I mean, that's pagan and occult just in itself. So, you look at so much of the stuff that's like interwoven through quote Christmas, and most of it just all goes back to pagan tradition. So, it's a lot of stuff is hidden in there.
It's fucking how crazy I am. Fucking nuts I can be about certain shit. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. We had a star in our tree, and it broke. It was one of those ones that lit up, and like, I guess at that time in occultism, I was really, and I'm not saying that the bad things are good, but I think as me and Lux has even started researching stuff, there is stuff out there in the media, or even stuff that we can read that it's only good or bad depending on how you're making it be. There's certain occult things that just are, and it depends on how you make it sound fucked up or what type of person you are, the intention behind using the magic. The magic itself isn't bad, it's the intention. And I look at the Christmas tree as like some shit like that. And for a while, I told my wife, I said, yo, I don't even want the star up there because I had different ideas about what it really was. That's how fucking stupid, and strict I was about, my beliefs.
Mhm.
And this year she was like, oh, can't we get one? And she was showing me one. And now, since I have a little bit more of an idea of what I think I'm actually looking at when I look at the tree, I was like, fuck it, yeah, go for it. I said, if you can put that star up there, I am going to get a fake toy rat and stick it on the next fucking thing underneath it, like an ornament, as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if anybody's going to catch that, but if you were to write out the word star and put it in a mirror, it's going to say rat. And that's exactly what the fuck we are. We're a bunch of rats playing to Saturn's fucking tune.
Yeah, and this is the celebration of Saturnalia coming up.
Yep.
So, like, yeah, I mean, I'm not big into holidays anymore. Just because they come because not just the occult stuff, but they're so commercialized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I even wondered, you know, if you think about the whole thing with Saturn, about Saturn having to do with death and rebirth and crossing over to the abyss, I have often wondered, like, you know, I think vibrational energy is very important. Like, that's, you know, why we're all doing our shows. We want people to start thinking differently, people to start becoming open-minded, people to start seeing the world in a different way, and maybe start vibrating on a less fearful level, and, you know, actually start enjoying their lives and maybe see more of what's really going on when you're not scared. Fuck, I totally forgot where I was going with that now.
But I mean, that's what gets us out of all of this. That's what
Yeah.
breaks us out of the
Oh,
matrix.
let's
You
get
know?
out of here. So that's what I'm getting at with Saturn. So unfortunately, during Christmas, the idea of love of others, love of family, love of spending time with people has all of a sudden turned into, well, you gotta fucking work to earn money to buy that motherfucker a gift so they know you love them. When that is fucking completely fucking meaningless. So I have wondered at some point, was Christmas a way to get that loving vibration to come out during a time that could be bad, because it has something to do with Saturn? It could either bring something bad in, or we could maybe bring something good in. Are we trying to raise that happy, loving vibration during a time that could get us fucked up?
I mean,
And has the elite said, okay, well, we'll go with that, but we're going to make you a fucking slave to that emotion, because you're going to think you need to buy things, look a certain way, and be a certain person in order to feel fucking love.
I think the vibration part is needed throughout winter just in itself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly,
Just to survive winter.
exactly,
So if they can bring
and
it down, they can make us sick. They can make us depressed. You get that cabin fever and
Yeah.
suicides
all
and
they've
shit.
been doing for the last year and a half is to try to make us fucking scared to death.
Scared, yeah.
You know,
Scared,
and
scared
I
to
also
death.
wondered if it's we need to get this vibration down low enough for enough times to really start making an impact, you know. And I think Christmas might have something to do with that, or Saturn.
Well, it's Christmas definitely had. I mean, you have the winter solstice, right? I mean, that's definitely
Because
I
that's
mean,
even
that is
like if we go by
right now. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, right now, yeah. I mean, with the moon phases and stuff, I noticed we're in what, like a quarter moon or something like that.
Well, we're
Just
going to be
noticed
almost on the new year. We're going to be almost at a new moon. We will be the day of New Year's. We will be 2%, I think, waxing or whatever, you know, going into the new moon. The day after January 2nd, we will be a new moon, and then the next day it starts going back, you know, into a full moon again.
Yeah,
Just
because
a
there was
lot.
some
And it will
the
be
moon cycle.
the moon will be in Saturn. So
The moon, way back, right? This is inverted, isn't it? The moon was actually masculine,
not
right?
Saturday. It was some shit.
And because the moon is silver, the sun is gold. The moon was masculine at one time, and the sun was feminine. Feminine, you know what I'm saying? And they inverted it to where the moon is now feminine and the sun is masculine, right? I mean, that's where our word menopause and menstrual comes from, is the moon from min, our sin. So
You actually just described the whole, almost the whole OTO Aeon right there. Believe it or not.
is it?
Yeah, you there. It first starts off. There is three of them. You have Osiris. They will look at as somebody that you could say was like the first Aeon, because people had believed that the sun is what kept us alive. The sun is God. Without the sun, we're going to die. And then people started to notice, well, women give birth. Uh, Once they're about to give birth, their menstrual cycle kind of goes away, and the menstrual cycle goes along with the moon. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
they this is going by how the OTO looks at it. They had just supposedly, if this is true, humanity started not worshiping the sun as much and realizing how important the female is. She gives birth and then even provides milk to the child until it's ready to go off on its own. So maybe the moon and the feminine energy is the god now. And then the third Aeon that they believe is coming in will be Horus, and that's going to be a mixture of both, because it will be the child that came from the two prior Aeons. So you pretty much right there in your own little way describe the OTO Aeon idea.
Sweet, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I mean,
He read the
I-
same fucking book I did.
no, a lot of the stuff I've learned, like etymology wise, and occult is from Christopher Lord and Truth Heresy. But he doesn't make. I think he might make videos still on Odyssey. He's got a Patreon, but his etymology work is like, it blew my mind like 10, 11 years ago when I first seen it, because he could only, it was back when YouTube, you could only make like 10, 15-minute clips. You couldn't put up 10 hours. You could only put up little clips. So he would have these 3.5, 4 hour long presentations that are clipped in 15-minute clips. And they finally took his shit down.
You know what? You're talking about like etymology and stuff like that. I always thought it was weird, and I'm through, I guess, practicing myself, just researching and my own experiences in magic. If you were, and I've seen other people notice it too, but I don't think they understood why. You get like there is much older like Egyptian mythology and research and stuff out there that is not used in the OTO. It's as if Crowley picked a specific time in Egyptian mythology when things were a little bit different, where certain characters kind of switched a little bit, different attributes kind of changed. He seems to start it then when he gets into a lot of his Egyptian stuff. And honestly, I think it's because if you were to truly understand the stuff prior to that, you would really start to understand more of the secrets and mysteries of mysteries. Like his Hathor. You always have Isis being known as associated with like Ra a lot, or Horus.
Now terrorism.
Isis.
Yeah.
But prior to Isis, they say that Hathor was the one who actually gave birth to Ra. And Hathor was also Ra's wife, because whatever. They got that weird Egyptian shit.
Yeah.
But the OTO doesn't really look at Hathor. They only look at Isis because of where they start, where Isis became like the head bitch. I think if you were to go back and look at the other stories and look at maybe Hathor and Nuit, if you compared them, you might see a lot more similarities and maybe understand Nuit a lot better, instead of always just thinking of Isis.
Yeah.
And I've often wondered, is that done on purpose? Was that done on purpose?
Yeah, I definitely think that there's been a lot of like bait and switches, where changes or alterations to what we're even told that they were believing, or they want to throw us off the trail, so that they change one or two things. One thing.
Well, they didn't have they didn't have like written words either.
Yeah.
If you look at like Sumerians and back to the Canaanites, it was basically chicken scratch, right? And we got to go off people translating this shit.
Yeah, but and then what's weird though on the opposite spectrum of that is that you had the Hebrews who were like had one of the most complicated, in-depth, intricate languages still even to this day. So
Yeah, and a lot of the words come from there.
right.
Yeah, I mean, like the Aleph. That's what the A in Hebrew are. It's not Hebrew. The actual language. I can't remember what the Hebrew language itself, as far as I know, isn't like a language. They speak a certain language that's not actually Hebrew. It's known as something else.
Yiddish.
Is that what it is?
I was wondering if that's maybe what you were thinking of. But they do speak Yiddish for sure. A lot of different Jewish sects do.
But yeah, like that's where the beginning of their alphabet was the Aleph, the bull. The hieroglyph, it's the pictograph itself is a bull alphabet, right?
Yeah.
Well, I even think like, I mean, just
That bull stuff. That bullshit.
And once we're getting into like,
Great.
we want to try to understand Egyptian mythology. What we're being told and how we learned it is taking a picture and then being given the English language as a way to describe what a picture is saying and saying this is what that picture means.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm always, and Lux will even say the same thing. I think that the English language is almost as deep and as culted as the Hebrew language. I think those letters
It's
mean
because it's a melting pot of all the languages.
So what I was gonna say is that because of ISIS and the letters and the number, the letters that are used, that's maybe why I could see that as being the head bitch and not Hathor, because of the letters that are being used and what they represent in occultism.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Just like, I mean, look, they added a K during all that crazy shit to ISIS when
Well, I mean, just the fact that they're using Isis, right? She was a goddess who
yes,
put
and they
Humpty Dumpty back together again, basically, except for his wiener. But
Yeah.
they, and so now they switched it to she's, it's terrorism, kind of like what they did with the swastika and shit like that.
Yeah, and I think they added the K. I don't know if you caught that. It was around the time when everybody was like,
Afghanistan, when they left Afghanistan and left everybody there in the airplane without an engine in it.
that was
Shit.
that was the best time. That was when you had I mean, I won't just say Republicans because I'm sure it's not just Republicans, but that is when you had a big group of people who have been tooting their horn about how we haven't been at war and how we should bring our troops home. All of a sudden flipping the switch, screaming about how we should go back over there and start killing motherfuckers again.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
I mean, it's psyop. It's fucking psyop.
That was amazing. That was just as good as the Caitlyn Jenner whole thing. That was probably, I don't know what
Caitlyn Jenner thing.
You had all right, I'm going to be totally honest with you, and I've said this before on other shows, and maybe you guys might see it too. There has been plenty of times that I have seen memes making fun of transgender people, people that I follow on the right that think the whole leftist transgender shit is a fucking, mental illness and make fun of it constantly. I have liked and I'm sure screenshot that shit and shared it myself. And then all of a sudden, somehow, one day, you got all these people that were just prior doing that posting on Instagram and Twitter, oh, this motherfucker's woke. I definitely vote for him. But yet you were just saying 2 weeks ago that these tranny motherfuckers are insane and out of their fucking mind and there's something wrong with them. And now all of a sudden, because Caitlyn Jenner said some cute shit that fucking, the cutards like, all of a sudden he's a savior and we're going to vote for him if he goes to run. Do you realize how mind fucked you just fucking got and you didn't even realize that shit?
It is like this whole thing's a psyop.
Yeah.
We're in a giant psyop.
Yeah.
Like a giant. Did you see that Unite the Right or some shit that was in DC?
Oh yeah, I saw that shit. It was
with the shields and shit. Like,
yeah,
get the fuck out of here, man.
They had their own little special chants and everything, and they all had matching identical. uniforms, and they're they're doing lockstep. They're all marching down the street at the exact same pace, and
Because it's
and
all
then
about the visual.
and then what cracks me up about that
visual
is it's
people.
something like it's something Save the USA or whatever is the name of the group, but right.
Yeah,
So
well,
all the guys that were there were wearing masks.
Yep.
Why?
Yep.
First of all, why would you have to wear a mask if you're a Republican? Most of the time, just typically, you don't like masks anyway, so why would you
Yep.
throw one on? I mean, to me, that's more of a they got to hide people's faces because they were wearing sunglasses too. So it's just a bunch of feds
It's a
walking down the
fucking
street.
psyop, and there's people who will suck the balls of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll even take it this way with this whole, like, a lot of the propaganda conspiracy shit. And I hate to always bring up QAnon, but I do think that they understand whoever's behind it, and this is part of what they're doing. You have to look at it is very emotional, up and down, up and down. You think you found something, oh, this is awesome. It's like, taking a fucking hit. People joke around hopium. Now think of that. It's constantly either getting excited, getting worried, getting excited, getting worried. Now, if you think of that as a waveform, you're constantly going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, spiking, going down, spiking, going down. That's probably kind of your wavelength while you're in this stuff. Now, me and Lux always say, and I always fucking say it on my show, I will not tell you to practice magic, but I will say the best and most important fucking thing you can do is learn to meditate. And meditate will change your fucking life. You'll realize who you are, and your life will totally fucking become better if you really stick at it. And when you're meditating, what are you doing? You're stopping that fucking spiking. You're starting to actually bring it down to a much more leveled fucking vibration, heartbeat, and pulse. And when you start to do that, you can actually start thinking for your fucking self. But instead, you're getting triggered by all this fucking crap, getting you up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. You'll never fucking figure out what magic is because your fucking shit's all over the place.
Meditation.
You'll just be used for it. You're just going to fall into that frequency, get picked up with the bullshit, and go along with the rest of them down the fucking stream.
I got kids. It's really hard to meditate.
Oh, you know what I'm getting? And not even meditating.
4-year-old.
Not even meditating. Shutting that shit up. Fucking shut my fucking show off. Shut the Occult Reject show off. Shut everybody's show off. The fucking TV, your phone for 2 or 3 fucking weeks, and see how much happier and how much of a better person you'll be. Shut it all the fuck off, because that's what's getting us.
It is.
Shut your mind off, and shut off like at least maybe 50 out of the 100 fucking voices that go on your head throughout the day. You just kill half those motherfuckers, and you'll start being a happier person.
Yeah, and then you'll find out if they're actually beaming one in there. Because they have all of us. They have all of our voices, right, in a big old bank, right, and so now that beam that they can beam a voice into people's heads and make them killers and shit. Now they can beam your own voice right into your head.
Well, I mean, I've even said this
fuck.
Time and time again. And my wife, I even said it to my wife. And my wife is a little hard sometimes to catch on to some of my weird shit when I come out and say it. But I told her, I said, isn't it weird how sometimes we could be doing something? We could be in the middle of something that like we are truly doing. Like right now, I could be doing this show. You could start talking. I could be listening to you. And all of a sudden, some fucking thought that has nothing to do with any of this shit pops into my fucking head. What makes that happen? You know what I'm saying? Do we ever really even
your
think
own
about
universe, man?
Well, is it that? Is it something? Is it something making us think shit?
All I know is everything that goes on in your brain from your senses and what you hear, see, feel is all an electrical signal sent to the darkest part of the universe.
No,
right?
yeah, you're totally right.
Your eyes are black holes, right? No light escapes the eye. It only is absorbed, right? So I don't know.
No, I don't think the average person ever really thinks about like, well, how does random shit just pop into my head? There's some huge, I'm sure there's some weird fucking mind-blowing science behind all that.
Definitely, if you're interested in that stuff, check out that book I was telling you about called In Search of the Miraculous, which was it's about a guy named Gurdjieff, and he He was an occultist, lived around the same time as Crowley, and he had gone to all of these mystery schools to his entire life. He was like a mystic sage, and he claimed that one of the secrets of secrets was that that many of the thoughts that you have are not your own all the time. But so he said that you get up in the day and you walk around your entire life, and the majority of the time you don't even realize that the thoughts that are going on in your head are not even your thoughts at all, but more or less implanted by energies that surround you, whether they be intelligence, energies that sort of implant thoughts into your head so that they can feed off of the energy that it produces, right? So you have really negative thoughts, well, you're going to be attracting certain energies to you, like like mosquitoes get attracted to the light, right? And
Yeah, moths. Yep.
It's like the Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
I mean, think about and and when I say this stuff, I really hope people aren't saying people aren't thinking, oh, he's telling us to go listen to the Gateway tapes. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm just going back to an older thing that we covered. Even Lux, you remember in the Gateway tapes and the stuff that we read and in the tape itself, when it starts like in the beginning, it has you already practicing visualizing like a bubble around you. That
is
is
the stuff where you do astral projection and
yes, and and what Lux is getting at, and I'm showing
it's an
what I
energy
think
thing then.
Yes, because before you
You
do
can
that,
transfer if that energy is in there, and energy is like particles, right? And energy is matter, and energy can be transferred. I mean, there's
you're
certain
basically
energies
putting
that
up
can go through solid objects, right? There's
Right.
certain
Yeah.
frequencies that can do that. Yeah.
I think it was
You
like
get
to put up a force
getting
field
deep.
around yourself so you didn't get fucked with other vibration or other signals when you were going to do whatever you were doing. Kind of like what Lux was saying. It was almost like a force field.
Yeah. And that was his
Like
biggest
space,
argument.
like
Is
a
that
force field from Spaceballs.
Yeah, and he was
No,
pretty much saying that's the whole reason why the world is the way that it is because we don't realize that our thoughts are not our own, and that we just wander through life in this subconscious state. Usually, by the time someone starts a sentence, people who are listening to it have already had multiple thoughts in between even hearing the full sentence. So it's like we get so distracted, and we get and they definitely have made an attempt to get our attention spans really short, and so we're not monitoring our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. And then what happens when you have a giant population of people who aren't controlling their thoughts and emotions? Then these controllers, they can create a whole entire society to do something that they want them to do, or to feel or think a certain way. And I think that we see that right now, that's what's going on in our population. People don't think for themselves. They're allowing the TV to tell them who they are, which is a vibration, or what to think, know? So it's just like they know that we're unconscious.
Broadcast. I mean,
yeah.
It's right in the word. It's a spell casting box. They use the Hollywood to it's messed up.
I mean, even think of it this way, and I'm sure, Chris, you have an idea. I mean, just from fucking around with this shit, I'm sure we're just using audio. Wavelengths, like or sound. There's always like the low part, and the frequency. There's always basically it's a polarity. If you really want to think about it, you have from the highest down to the lowest. It's down. That's almost the same thing I'm going to say. Like
at some point, it's a perfect vibration.
That is just like the tree of life in the Kabbalah. You have from one extreme to the next, and your job is to try to stay down the fucking middle of that vibration. You know what I'm saying?
Well, your brain.
Yes.
How much of your brain is doing that subconsciously? Filtering out. Just even light. What are light? UV and different
spectrums.
Spectrums. That it's doing and stuff that's actually happening around us that we don't even. Our brain is spending how much energy just keeping stuff out, keeping us into this reality, which is wild because our own reality is in, slightly behind what's actually going on.
No, yeah.
It's crazy. It
Yeah.
is crazy,
And they
when you try to
know,
think about that.
and they know how, certain like when you get into magic and you look at planetary forces or astrological impacts on how emotions and feelings that we have. I mean, these controllers, these people, the black magicians that are controlling entire populations of people, they know how to utilize certain times, certain dates, certain
Yeah, they know how to use
like,
that's JP Morgan, wasn't that his quote? Right?
and it was something like
Millionaires don't use astrology, billionaires do.
yeah, something like that.
I think it was
But
JP Morgan.
like look at like we were just talking about, right? So we know that some of these groups that we've researched are trying to usher in this new aeon, this new age, and they know when to use certain dates to push certain agendas. And take a look at New Year's this year, like New York Patriot was talking about, right? This is why I'm worried about New Year's, because I think they might try and pull something because of what's going on. If you look at what day is New Year's, it's a Saturn day.
Oh shit!
And what time
You're
does
right, almost at the new moon.
yeah, and with the new moon, but
That's
then
like a blood moon, right?
right, but what is the planetary hour? What's the planetary hour of Saturday at 12 a.m.? The planetary hour is the moon.
Yeah. But what I was gonna get at before, and I hate to, Lux is taking it there, so I'm just gonna go with it now. I hate to sound gloom and doom, but I do think there's something that's coming. I do think. I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetime or not, but I do think it's going to be soon. And we're constantly seeing the same thing over and over again. Me and Lux, whenever we're looking at somebody's stuff, trying to see what occult story they're telling, it seems to be the same thing constantly over and again, and a lot of Saturn stuff coming up. So. Talking about that, and Saturn's very much to do of archetype of the mind, stuff that you can't see, thoughts, vibrations, very much of that. I start to wonder if, like talking about before, keeping people up and down, up and down, up and down. You're not balanced. You're all over the place. And now you're sticking these fucking chemicals in you. You're all over the place. Now you got all these fucking planetary things coming up and all this magic and all this vibration that's going on. I do wonder if it is like, as they say, a new aeon coming in, and the people that are unbalanced inside of that spectrum at some point, regardless if it's something that you just stuck in yourself because you're afraid to fucking walk out the fucking front door, that's helping it also, or just on your own. I think, I hate to say it, when time comes, they will just be reincarnated into the new slave system of the new aeon. I think they're trying to pick up a specific frequency that they are putting into the people to hold on to for when this time comes.
Yeah.
And when I hate to say it, I'll be going to be 100 honest with you. When you start looking at all these major religions that always have this small amount of fucking people that are going to make it afterwards, and I'm not saying that I'm part of it, and that's why I'm saying I believe this might be possible, but I do think if you were to probably look at the world, there probably will be that low of amount of people left over, if this is true and if this is coming, that are really that fucking balanced to not be affected by it. I could see that number being that fucking low because humanity is fucked up right now.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys know anything about like the Nemesis system with Nibiru?
Mm-hmm.
You're speaking planetary. I mean, if that exists, that could also be, having some shit to do with this.
Yeah, there was
lockdowns and getting rid of people. And
what was that new Marvel movie that just came out that had fuck is that Spanish chick in it that everybody thinks is fucking hot?
I don't know. I don't keep
There's
up
a new
on
Marvels movie that just came out, and my wife actually loves those shows, and I will go and see them because I do think that there is occult as shit. and it just fucking came out. I saw it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember the fucking name. They go into that idea.
Do
Yeah,
they?
they go. Yo, it's just.
Well, check this out.
I even told Lux
Netflix
when I
has,
saw it. I said we should cover this on one of our shows.
Netflix has a movie with DiCaprio coming called Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
And then like I just watched Quiet Place 2, which, you know, Quiet Place 1, something came from space and you see it streaking across the sky. And then like, I mean,
Yeah, but the thing is that the idea that they had in this movie, which was kind of fucked up, and I was like, I hope this is just a fancy way of trying to tell a different story. Their thing was that this did happen, this collision did happen, whatever, this other planet came into our system, but something from it is inside the Earth.
Yeah.
And at some point, this thing's going to fucking come out.
well, I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
I
And
mean,
right now,
many volcanoes are active and there's a lot of
Yeah.
earthquakes at La
yeah,
Palma.
they're saying like right now, there's people that, you know, these, I don't know, what are these beings or whatever that are trying to slow down the process. And then there's people who are thinking it's inevitable, just let it happen.
Inevitable. It's inevitable. It's the ultimate black pill. If you got into the Nemesis system and the Black Sun and shit like that, I mean, like, it's like the ultimate black pill because there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, that's the whole thing too. I do believe we're actually in a cycle that it doesn't matter what the fuck we do. We could just try to make it the best possible while we're here.
Nah, and I like I read somewhere that like the Maya calendar was the countdown to when Nemesis crossed the ecliptic of the sun. You know, the ecliptic of the plane of our solar system. So now what I've read is in 8 years or so is when it's going to be in between us and Jupiter, though. And this is an entire system.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's not just a planet. You know, when people talk about Nibiru, they're talking about the planet. It had a sun. You know, it's a binary star and it's a brown dwarf, you know, and it's
Right.
dragging its own system with it. And it's already dying, so
Yeah.
well,
I
you got to
mean,
go by, you know, NASA shit. You know, you got to believe in the NASA to, and I think that's why flat Earth is hopping because you can just forget about Nemesis. You know, it can't happen. You know, so we're not going to get smashed by some planetary system coming through here.
Yeah, and all I'll say is that if you're going to do if you were a black magician and you really wanted some shit to pop off, and you wanted literally all the stars to align for your magic, because as magicians you typically do. If I'm going to perform a ritual or something, I'm going to, you know, align it with a planetary hour, certain energies associated with certain planets, or the spheres on the Kabbalah. If you were going to do some shit, this New Year's would be the day you were going to do it. So that's what just has me so nervous. I don't know. Could definitely be wrong, but it's just a very weird, strange set of events, coincidences that everything's lined up the way it is.
Yeah, and it's like we know that they love this ritualistic shit. They love their stars and their dates and their sacred lands and shit like that, you know. So it's, and the normal person does not get it. They don't get like how deep the shit is, like how they use like Saturn, just the Saturn symbolism and the Saturn death cult type shit just in their everyday life. Like when they graduate and they wear the black robe and they have the Oxford, you know, the bull, the Oxford cap, the mortar board, because that mortar board is used with the Masons when they lay their bricks. But the square is a two-dimensional cube. The cube is the, you know.
Yo, and don't you turn your tassel from one side to the next as well?
Yeah, I didn't graduate, but yeah, you do something like that.
I'm saying, like, nobody's like,
you're passing. It's a ritual. You take place in these you take part in these rituals without even knowing it, you know. And then you have when they go to Mecca, they're running around, you know, the cube
black
and
cube,
the ring of Saturn, you know. I mean, it all comes back to Saturn, and it comes back to bull worship. You know, a lot of our words have bull right in. I mean, the Bible. It's two different books of parables. Right. It's two different books. The Torah is that's one of them. The Torah, you know.
Maybe
like
Paul was bisexual.
Well, Jesus is, they say his what is that shroud? The shroud is in Turin, right? The Turin is the city of the bull, right? And if you look at the shroud, it's got the horns. It's all about the bull. It's all about the
You
sun
know,
and the
a lot of the stuff you're kind of talking about, and not to even like plug our shit again, but that would probably be like in like the last episode of the series, the Scarlet Horse series we're putting out. I know for myself, I have some stuff like that. I'm sure Lux has plenty
the
too.
Scarlet Horror, right?
We'll get into a lot of that. It's basically what we're going to show you is basically all Saturn stuff, but
and
different
when
ways.
Zeus become a bull.
So there will be I definitely have stuff that shows Jesus with the astrology shit. With Saturn.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah, I mean it's
gonna be some real deep shit actually.
Sun worship and Saturn worship, and we get all of our words come from it, and like people know of the god of Horus, but they don't know the word hour comes from Horus,
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's people that don't even understand that. And you try to explain it to them, they're like, I don't know.
Well, I even look at Christianity, for example. What do you say after you get done every prayer? You say amen.
Yeah.
Right? Amen.
Amen.
Literally Amen Ra.
Or the word religion itself has Ra in it. It's a legion of Ra. It's a sun worship. It's a sun legion. I mean, every single religion is the same.
Just different stories.
Just different parables and different, right? And it's got, and if you know what's going on, it's a little. I mean, it's understandable, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was even gonna say before, and when we were talking about all this weird stuff going on with like Christmas and Saturn, you had mentioned the winter solstice, right? Did you mention that, Chris? And then I think I was going to say, now I don't know if you ever heard of the Texasist. We had him on our show, and I think has some amazing work where he kind of looks at the Bible and actually shows how it's all parables, and a lot of it might actually be talking about chemical changes inside the body. He had mentioned
something like that. I think
he had mentioned something, and it's been from my experience as well. A lot of the magic that I ever had, like extreme, I guess, effects from or experiences, was when I was meditating, and it was like pretty much complete darkness. Like I couldn't see shit. He says then he thinks that's when in complete darkness with your eyes closed is the only way you will be able to open your pineal gland.
So Joe Rogan
does for the beginners. Now, he was also saying, I think winter solstice might have been, I guess, before you can stick yourself in, a fucking house and close the windows or whatever. The winter solstice may have been the time when you have more darkness at night and you have more time to be able to play around with that shit as well, because there's less daylight stopping your pineal gland from being able to open up with your eyes closed.
Yeah,
I was like, whoa, what the fuck? That shit.
So Joe Rogan, he's visiting outer space all the time in his float tanks.
Oh, yo, I'm going to one of those this Friday for the first time.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah. Me and my wife are both going. I bought edibles just to make just for that just for that.
I said he's never coming back out, dude. Once he gets into that tank, he's
I heard
not coming out.
So I told my wife, I said I might fucking stay out there. I don't know.
Yeah, they're just gonna open up the tank and there's nothing in there. You just fucking escape the matrix.
Yeah, I mean, if energy is energy and energy is particle, then why can't it transfer? Why can't it?
That's even why I think you get people saying that they have these amazing experiences. And I'm going to even say, I think this is something, I'm not going to say this is why Whitney Houston died, but I do think there is something up with the whole water and salt.
Oh yeah.
Water itself, if you had very, very clean water, and if you had a brand new computer that didn't have any dirt, dust, or anything on it, and if you actually spilt perfectly clean water on there, it wouldn't do anything. It's what's inside the water that the electricity can conduct through that fucks up electronics. It is not the pure water itself. So now you're getting inside a fucking tub with salt, of all things. I'm thinking that is a really good little bubble of electric conducting going on.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
Whitney
saying?
Houston, she just drowned, right? She didn't have a toaster.
Well, I
with
mean,
her.
we don't fucking know if there was salt in there. The chick was
I don't
in
know
there
if there
for
was a
fucking
toaster.
hours before they even called the cops. They even admit that. They waited
They were
hours.
doing the Grammys or whatever downstairs, weren't they?
Yeah, you know, who knows? It's in a tub.
Yeah, they were literally like doing the Grammys downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were
Well,
literally doing another. They were doing a fucking ritual downstairs, and then there's a blood sacrifice upstairs in a tub.
I'm just wondering if doing something like that makes it easier for your, as crazy as it sounds, your soul to slip out of you into something else.
Well, think about and they show us a lot of that imagery, right? Because think about, think about the Matrix, right? What happens when Neo wakes up from the Matrix, right? He pulls himself out of this giant bubble that's filled with goo and stuff, and he's pulling all these wires out of him, right? So they show us there that it could be maybe a means of escape, being submerged in water, something like that. But then think about Stranger Things. Anytime in Stranger Things that 11 needs to travel to the ethereal or to this neighboring dimension, what does she do? She is in a tub full of water and salt, and then she has to be blindfolded. And I mean, they even go into it so much in I think it's season 2, where they fill up an entire pool and they submerge her in this pool, and it has to have so much salt that she's totally buoyant. And then what happens when she starts to cross over into this neighboring dimension? She crosses water. She looks down, she sees water on her feet, and the water is black. What that goes back to occultism, crossing the abyss, the Black Sea, right? That's what they call the abyss. So they show us that shit. It's just, you know, you gotta have eyes to see it.
Yeah, what was fuck. I was thinking of something that I wanted to say. Oh, and the thing, what you were just saying right there, Lux, and then and something Chris said. Sometimes I wonder. Also, you know how they talk about the firmament, or if you're under a dome, it's almost as if it's almost plasma like a gel, like it isn't like the water that we have here. You know what I'm getting at? It's more of like what you said when they pulled Neo out, it was like a gel on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something.
I'm wondering, is it something plasma like? You see what I'm getting at? Because now I could understand why there is importance in blood when it comes to crossing over the abyss. Because we have that as well in our blood.
Plasma.
Yes. We have it in our fucking TV.
So it's the thick black goo out there. And then every once in a while, the blue veil, which is every single day, covers up what's really coming.
When you fuck around with that shit. Now, see, this is when it, I'll get into my own personal experience. One time, I think I had mentioned, I ended up going to the hospital because of fucking around with this shit. And there was nothing fucking wrong with me, really, except that for some reason, they said my hemoglobin level was, I forgot what it was already. It was jacked the fuck up, like ridiculously high. I think it was at like a 19.5, and it should be like at a 15. And they had to give me a bag of saline, and they had to give me a bag of blood. I stayed there for about 3 days. I leveled out, and I went home. Now, that has never been a problem ever in my life, and has never again been a problem for me. I did not look into exactly, they gave me the name for it or whatever, what it was called. I looked it up a little bit, but it does have something to do with the plasma in your fucking blood. So I'm thinking, is it something we burn the fuck up ourselves fucking with this shit? And then when you come back, you got to find a fucking way to replenish it, or you're going to feel like shit for a while on your own.
Well,
And this, and now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because now maybe this could lead into your adrenochrome.
the adrenochrome. Now we're canceled. Definitely taking off here on that one.
Yeah.
But no, I mean like the blood. I mean, doesn't it say somewhere in the Bible like eternal life is within the blood, right?
It says the kingdom of heaven is within you. Something.
I mean,
I
because
wonder
like,
if it's
what's
like
going
that
on and all the PCR tests and all the DNA grabbing they did,
Right.
you know, they're looking for something, right?
I often wonder if it's stored electricity within us in a way.
Yeah.
It's as weird as it goes. I don't know how to explain it, but
It's
or
like,
like
a
a
battery. Like, yeah.
and I think you burn it up. I
How
think you
did-
can burn it up fucking around with this shit.
That's weird to think of us being a battery.
And it's like,
But
think,
that's basically what the Matrix was, right?
right. And then, I mean, so much, what is it? 97% of our entire body is made of water. And
Yeah.
we have to have certain amount of salt to be
We have to
have a
the
functioning
pH
brain.
balance.
You
Right.
got to be able to conduct that electricity throughout the whole body to keep it working. What happens? You
Yeah.
get muscle cramps. Can't fucking move. You hurt.
Yeah,
Mhm.
We're just a big fucking conductor of electricity.
yeah, we're a biological machine.
That's what I
Yeah.
think Metallica's Ride the Lightning album literally is all about crossing the abyss.
Hmm.
If you go back and listen to that in a different way, you'll be like, fuck, these motherfuckers are talking about escaping through electric.
Hmm.
Yep. Trapped under ice.
Yeah,
that
it would make sense. I
that
mean, it would
motherfucker's
make
talking about
sense.
looking at the veil right there, trapped under ice. He's
Like you
staring
would
at the
need
veil right
a
in front of him.
like you would need a big surge of energy, right?
Well, if you start, in my opinion, what you have to do is start cutting it off. You have to literally, like, and it's in meditations. Lux will probably tell you when you start doing magic, if you know, in a lot of books and a lot of reputable people, they'll always tell you neither to try with grounding, you know, picturing light coming down into your fucking body, filling it up, going down all the way to your feet and pushing it out into the earth to get rid of it. People, I mean, that is like a hugely witches, everything. I mean, that's like a big actual practice that a lot of people have probably done at some point.
I
If
feel like you have to be naked.
no, I mean,
The
you just
earth.
it takes a lot of practice, and you picture it inside your mind with your fucking eyes closed. Again, with your eyes closed. In my opinion, if you start doing that backwards and actually start picturing the energy within yourself coming from your foot and then bringing it up eventually to your head and literally making your mind think that whatever has just where all that energy just left does not exist anymore. Your legs will not feel like
Well,
it's there. Your
it's
stomach will not feel
proven.
like it's there because there is no electric there at all. You have moved all your energy to the top of your head, and then you're going to snap out, and your soul is going to go somewhere else.
It's proven that, you know, that shit. Now I just lost my train of thought right there. That well, that happens.
It's all right. I did it 3 times already.
What's that? What?
I did it 3 times already, so it's all right.
Yeah, but
And what's wild too is if you look at, you know, not only do we produce electricity, but I was watching this documentary the other day about Chernobyl, you know, the nuclear disaster in Russia. And they were talking about how when they test people for radiation, that there's a certain amount of radiation, like the way that they test it is it's like zero, it has to be above 0.005 or something. And what she was explaining is because we already give off radiation as humans. So that's the baseline. We don't have zero radiation in our body. That's not how they test it to see if you have
no, they had
access
to
or not.
raise it past the baseline after Fukushima because everybody's fucking Geigers were going off.
And it's gamma radiation too. And that's crazy as hell because gamma radiation is way different than other types of radiation.
Yeah, see, my thought I lost the placebo, you know, talking about the power of the mind. I mean, a placebo effect that's proven. You know that the like I just read something. I need to look where it's at, but about a scientist that had to have been probably the Holodomor or the Holocaust that did an experiment taking a prisoner and just a small, telling them that they're going to just a small incision and let their blood slowly drip out until they died. And they would make this they'd drip water into this bowl and they'd get it more intense and then finally slowed it down, and this dude died.
Damn.
Yeah,
Just like a placebo, which I mean they've proven that in how the body can heal itself.
they even bring that into every scientific study that goes to research medicine, is that they know that there is a placebo effect. So they take that into the account when they do the research. And what that is your thoughts, right, are impacting your reality, because we're like those conductors, and the brain is, coming up with this imagination. Your thoughts are then being like inputted into the reality itself. So like what you think you create, and I mean, that's a perfect example of it there. I mean, you really have to be convinced that you're going to die in order to manifest that into reality, because obviously it wasn't a physical reaction.
No. And that is, I mean, this stuff's proven that, like you said, I mean, they have that, within their studies. I mean, right now they're sending out placebos, just in the vaccine.
Right.
Not everybody's getting the fucking, the juice.
Yeah.
Because then it'd be more noticeable. People are like, holy shit,
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
a natural DMT experience. 3 days of darkness, huh?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. So I showed that.
Write that one down. Trying to find me a dark place, but again, I got a 4-year-old, so it's hard.
Oh well, that's gonna show on the screen. I thought that was. I was like, oh, I can show that, and I was like, I mean, see, this is even a whole other thing. I mean,
on YouTube, I just mentioned the Holodomor. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it.
If
it's gonna get kicked off there.
Let's say this remark is even true. If you're gonna have DMT experience from putting yourself into darkness for 3 days, I mean, maybe that's why Jesus had a fucking boulder over in his that motherfucking jaw for 3 fucking days. He wasn't about to get out, no matter how much he tried. He needed somebody else. He was going to be stuck in there for 3 fucking days in the darkness.
Yeah, and then what is this?
Fuck knows. I'm just saying. I mean, we have no idea what kind of parables these stories are telling people.
Well, and then look what happens when happens in between that 3 days. The 3 days that Jesus dies, right? It says in the Bible that he's traveling around. He's going to these different places in the ethereal.
He was. I'm sure he was.
It says he goes all the way down to the abyss, and then
When's
grabs
the spring equinox?
The keys to hell. He brings that back.
Yeah. He, you know what? He came off of Saturn's cross and became free. That's what he did.
You know, you know what's wild about the cross? Like a perfect cross. If you fold it together, it's a cube.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is wild, man. Because it all goes back to Saturn.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, everything leads back to Saturn and planet worship, Jupiter.
I mean, that's the whole thing. If people will even entertain the idea that, crossing the abyss, you can represent that as technically, you dying to your physical self and crossing over to the spirit world. If people could somehow even entertain that that's possible, and I believe it's possible for every single fucking person on this planet to do, that could easily explain a lot of stuff with Jesus and Saturn, because he died to the flesh and crossed over in spirit.
Yeah, and
that would all still be Saturn again, because that's what Saturn is all about, crossing the abyss.
Mm-hmm. And it's what known as Cronus, who's father time,
Yeah.
right?
Well, see, that's the thing. If you also notice this is something I was even going to show in the Scarlet Horse series. If you were not really into magic that much at all, or occultism, or just basic, the basic stuff on the internet, most people are going to be like, I don't understand how they're talking about a female with Saturn, because almost everybody probably thinks it's primarily a male god. No, there is the male and the female. You don't hear about the female part that much, because that is the part that needs to be taken care of and dealt with in order to have a real magic with a K experience.
Yeah, because it's
Never
all sex.
fucking covered or gone into the way that, I'm not patting ourselves on the back, but the way that we're going to present it, I don't think people are going to be like, what the fuck?
It's all about that sex magic, about that big bang.
That's even a whole other thing where I'll be pointing out how that's a parable in itself. You don't need to fuck to have sex magic.
No, I mean, you don't need to.
No. It's all, the Scarlet Whore is a very good pictorial way to show some of the most deeply occulted secrets, in my opinion, magic.
Sweet.
And that's why nobody understands it.
Can't wait to hear that one.
Yeah. And it has
put it under
pattern, and that's what I'm getting at. Most people think it's male. Oh, the female part of Saturn, that motherfucker's a bitch.
Yeah.
She's straight up cranky bitch.
Yeah, and they hide all of the secrets, in just these deep levels that, on the surface, like if you're in the Masons or something and they tell you what Saturn is, sure, one part of that might be true, but it's not the whole story, because it's so multifaceted, So they just hide it under all these different symbols, hoping that only the people in the know will be able to keep that information.
Only the illuminated ones, you would say.
Yeah.
The ones that have the knowledge.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you want to go? I mean, it's almost an hour and 10 minutes already. Did you even want to try to touch on that other subject that you wanted to bring up, or do you want to do that? We can do this again some other time. Or
yeah,
you know
we
what
can
I'm
hit
saying?
it on
I don't know.
some other time. I want to go deeper into it and look into it now.
I was like, I don't know if this guy.
So I got a video.
I didn't know if you'd be okay with like doing.
I mean, we can.
Yeah, because I was like, only another 10 to 15. Well, I was gonna say I would only go maybe like another 10 or 15 minutes, but if you have like a lot to show, I really don't want to screw you. I'd rather have you present it like fully on another time. It's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was good. We got
I thought this was good. We had a totally different idea and topic talked about, and we didn't get anywhere. Well, I mean, we kind of got near it, but not really.
How this goes.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a fucking awesome episode, actually, I think.
Yeah, I had fun on this.
Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta wing it.
Yeah. I can't wait for you guys staying on the Scarlet Whore.
The funny thing is too is that we realized
purple, right? The Scarlet.
Yeah, I was like, it's gonna fall right around Christmas too. It's so fucking funny because it is all about Saturn. So
yeah,
I was like, what was the odds? I was looking at I was looking at all the episodes we have done already, and I think if I remember correctly, the first part will drop, I think, December 22nd. I was like, how fucked up is that?
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers.
Yo, and the whole thing is that it probably, and it's not that, and this is not being put out to scare people either at all or make them think, fuck, we're screwed. It's really just shining the light on like how magic is done, and on our opinion, how it's being used and how it's being put out in the public, to where it's like, if you understand what we're explaining to you, you'll start picking up the propaganda in the radio and the news, in my opinion.
Well, it's used so they can just perpetuate rituals.
Right.
I mean, so on a mass scale.
And then
everybody hits back to the Super Bowl, shit like that. Those are just mass rituals, because if the energy is one big collective, so to speak, then it can connect in those types of ways, right? I guess,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's what we were
Yeah.
talking about there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but what I was gonna say is that what sucks is that we're only gonna have one episode out by then, so it may not look like it won't be as deep as it will get before Christmas. But it will, the first episode was definitely gonna have some fucking interesting, deep, definitely a lot of info, but it won't get.
That'd be wild if
Yeah,
the
I think the
symbolism
third
that
part's
Snoop
gonna.
Dogg and Eminem and all them use at the Super Bowl.
I think the third part is what me and Lux said is going to possibly melt some people's fucking minds.
Yeah.
Eminem dunking breath on a bowl or something.
Me and him were even saying that they're like, I wonder if we might even lose some followers because they're gonna be like, yo, I don't even know if I want to even believe this is true.
Well, I mean, and then what they do
It's
is
wild.
they just integrate it into so many different things that we don't realize that we're participating in a ritual. Every time that we participate in that ritual, even if we are unaware of the fact that we're participating in it, it still supercharges the
Going
ritual
back
itself.
to even people graduating, they're going through a ritual of
Yeah.
becoming illuminated, so to speak, and moving on, illuminated into the indoctrination and the bullshit. And
Mhm.
they wear the cube of Saturn right on their head, and it's called the Oxford cap, back to the bull, because the Oxford University is the oldest university in existence, correct? Oxford University, and that's back to the bull again.
Yeah. Well, even think about marriage, right? Like what
Yep.
the tradition is, in my opinion, a ritual, and I think it revolves around Saturn itself. I mean,
The ring of Saturn, the Lord of the Rings.
well, you're walking down the aisle, right? The feminine energy is walking down the aisle, and then she's given to you as a bride. And what does she have in front of her face? Right?
A veil.
Veil. So it shows symbolism of crossing the abyss with the feminine energy, then lifting the veil. And then what do you do when you finally say, I do? You put a ring on it, just like you said, the ring of Saturn.
And then they took it and they made it into commerce.
Oh, yeah.
But we still celebrate the ritual without knowing that you're celebrating this dark occult. Is it a dark occult ritual? I mean, it's a ritual nonetheless. But and then it's just people do not understand it. They don't
Yeah.
want to understand it. And I drop like these hints to friends and shit, and they're like, "You're fucking crazy." But there's been a couple of them who, you get that text, you're like, "Wait a minute, weren't you saying this?" Because
like I said, watched a couple of days ago, some shit, and again, it's one of those things that just seems weird, but I do think it could be possible if talking about engagement rings and wedding rings or whatever rings. I forgot what made me. I think I was in Macy's with my wife. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. She was just looking at shit, and something made me think of like engagement rings, and I'm thinking of this. Probably thinking of working on the Scarlet Horse series, honestly, or something. Some of that shit was going through my head, made me think of rings, made me think of Saturn. So now I'm thinking about all that shit, and I'm like thinking of different diamond cuts, because now I honestly think that the tree of life and honestly our existence is all just manipulations and bending of light. I'm not going to take them. I'm just going to leave it there. That's what I think. Break it, to boil it all down to, how.
I mean, the pineal
I guess-
gland is basically crystallized, right?
Yeah, but
So
what I was going to say is I started thinking of certain, diamonds. They reflect light, right? I mean, diamonds, they're known for, that's you check them to see the clarity of fucking light. So I'm like, oh, and they have one now because of thinking of the Scarlet Horse series. I'm thinking, well, the Scarlet Whore is the princess as well and the queen. You have in magic, you have the Yod-Hey Vod-Hey formula. That's almost everybody ceremonial magicians. Crowley has his knocks and whatever, a little different, but you have king, queen, prince, and princess. Yod-Hey Vod-Hey. All right, the princess is the Scarlet Whore, just as at a younger age, and the queen is the nasty fucking cunt Scarlet Whore bitch that's never happy. All right, there's also a third one, but that's who she is. And I'm thinking princess cut. So I look up how a princess cut diamond looks like. Well, they're square, of course, just like Saturn.
Oh yeah.
And now I was like, what kind of, I wonder what like the reflection is. So I looked up reflection. This motherfucker thinks it's a KKK hat on my head. No, it's fucking dunce cap. Sorry, I'm reading the fucking comments. It's a fucking dunce cap, not a KKK hat. Jesus Christ. So I was thinking of the reflections that come out from a diamond.
Yeah.
Now, if you were anybody listening or your listeners, go look up planetary sigil for the moon, and you will get, there will be a magic square. I look you. Thank you. A magic square. You'll get a magic square that shows you how talismans are done with the moon planetary square. Then they will have the sigil that shows you what the talisman looks like for the moon in that planetary square. If you were to take that sigil and put it right next to the fucking princess cut drawing showing you how it reflects, it's going to look a lot like the fucking same thing. It's going to look a lot very close to each other. And I was
So
like,
you're
yo,
walking around
does it
carrying
really
that
get this
sigil
fucking
around.
deep? Does it really get that fucking deep to where we're
I believe
actually
it
wearing
does.
fucking diamonds on our fucking hand that reflects
Blood
light
diamonds,
to the
right?
fucking sigil that it represents the moon in magic?
I mean, if
That
this
blows my
stuff's been
fucking
going on
mind.
for as long as we're told it's been going on, then yeah, I mean it's playing down to the I mean, and then I mean if there's a creator, there's that Taurus word again, creator. But if there is one, I mean, they've got it down to even when you die, you get the DMT and all the drugs, and you get this comfort drug through death and stuff. And like, everything's pretty well taken care of, And I guess these guys are trying to manipulate it or fucking what? I mean, I have no fucking clue. I'm just a guy running a rant podcast.
I'm gonna see if I can pull up that fucking shit now. Moon planetary sigil, and I'll see if I can.
But yeah, I mean, if the way I see it, everything is there's no coincidence. Everything seems to be like they got it down damn near to the finest detail. I mean, look at your Oreos. Your Oreos, even I mean,
the white and the black pillar. Holy fuck.
well, it's got the Maltese cross on it, and it's Nabisco's got the Jesuit cross on, on it.
Yeah.
If they can symbols, what is it? Symbols rule the world, basically. Symbols and numbers rule the world, right? Letters make words, and words cast spells, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what we're living in. And if it's able to be manipulated, if this reality is able to be manipulated, then people are doing it. People are trying to feed off this, as Tripoli says, this loosh, this energy, whether good or bad.
The loosh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but
damn, I can't figure out how
it's
to. Sorry, I was trying. I was trying to save.
Yeah, I mean, they use these symbols. These symbols are, and like you guys say, you guys are working on something that takes it even deeper. So,
yeah.
I mean, everything that every symbol, it's so fucked up because like every symbol, like look at the on symbol, right? The on is the open circle with the phallic, it's a
line going through it.
Yeah, it's like just little shit like that, Like, how did that become the universal on button or on symbol?
Yeah, right. And it's
No,
I mean, they've
And it even is on, right? Like it's, you get turned on when you flip the switch, you get turned on.
Yeah.
The words are
that's what you gotta do.
crazy, man. Like Solomon, you got soul, the sun, Om, like ohms, energy or frequencies, right? And then on, just like getting turned on, turning on the light.
Yeah,
It's fucked up.
they integrated it into everything. That's one of the things that we, yeah, we covered it on the Frankist series, but you know, I mean, it's like they integrated themselves into all these different school systems, and the whole reason that they were doing it is, you know, to impact like psychology and to change the way that people view the world, right? It's like really, really methodical and weird and twisted what
And
they
it's
did.
generational, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like them people don't even get to see what the hell happened, you know, unless there's this way the most extreme dark shit possible happening, you know, which to me, I mean, anything's possible. I'm an open mind, you know, like Jordan Maxwell says, you know, like the mind's like a parachute. It's only fucking works when it's open. So
yeah. All right, I think
you know,
I think I have. I think I've
only any good when
figured
it's
out
open.
how to. Damn it! I don't know why I can't figure out how to fucking share this fucking photo. I got the photos that I wanted to show, the whole fucking princess
Hit
cut
the
and everything.
the
And
share thing down at the bottom, and then go to up to the window tab.
yeah, well, it says slides, video, share screen. I don't. I mean, is it
Share
you choose
screen.
slides?
Share screen. Share
Oh,
screen.
all right. So then I'm gonna. Oh, all right. So then I'm gonna have to actually open this picture up then. All
And
right.
then you can hit like the window, and just
Oh,
open
okay.
just
All right.
that picture.
All right. I thought I might have been able to like actually load up into. Yeah. I was expecting too much for this. Not like a dick because I was expecting too much. All right. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
That is the
And you have
moon.
that
That's the
set
moon. That
into
is the
a ring of Saturn, right?
that is yeah. That is the planetary sigil of the moon. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna
That
make
just
it a
made
little
me think when you
bigger.
say
Everybody can
princess
see
and
it.
moon is Princess Diana, which Diana is what? Like the queen of the moon, a moon goddess herself. That's why you have it,
Yeah. But
right?
so just yeah. So that is the dealing with planetary magic. That is the moon. Now I'm gonna stop sharing this, and I will show you what the princess thing I was just telling you about.
The princess cut.
Yes, and I think you know, unless it could be
Every,
me, could be
everybody wants that princess cut, you know.
me, but
Amazing.
I think the one on the right might be.
It's definitely a cube. You
But
could have
even if you start seeing how
Maltese
they're on,
crossing.
they're on angles, but just think if they were curved instead, it'd be the same fucking thing. I wish I was able to put one next to the other, but I think you can kind of see it like over here where
Mhm.
you understand like where
Yeah.
we normally curve in. There's points,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
but I definitely see something like a comparison to that for sure.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
makes sense, man. I mean, like it's so integrated. It's so the symbolism from Saturn to the moon to all that occult shit
Definitely weird.
is in everything that we do. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then once you're open to it, you know, your eyes are open to it, you see it all over the place. And you can't shut it off.
I know it's weird how that happens because it's like, yeah, you know, my wife, for example, you know, she really wasn't into a lot of any of this when we first met, and I would say things to her, and she would think like, "Oh, that's crazy. That's such a big stretch," and I'd be like, "All right, you know." And now it's so funny because she'll, after like a day at work, she'll come home and she'll be like, "Oh my God, have you seen the Starbucks symbol? Do you know how much occultism is in that Starbucks symbol?" And I'm like, "Oh
Yep.
shit, I created a monster."
That's how it's done.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, it's it like we're like some big experiment, maybe. You know, I don't know.
Yo, did you ever see? Yo, did you ever see? I want to go on it for too long, and then we'll probably wrap it up soon. But did you ever see? The fuck was that movie? Jupiter Ascending.
I think so.
You know, that even goes into like basically in that movie.
They tried to ignite Jupiter.
In that movie, if you go by what they say in that movie, is that like all these planets are basically being populated so our blood can be harvested by like something else that's just going through the fucking galaxy, just sucking up life.
That would suck.
Yeah, yo, but
literally and figuratively.
I think for some reason, I don't know why, I think it was the bad guys were actually coming from the planet Jupiter, but like it was even showing them like staying young looking because they were bathing in like they were like getting powdered, they were turning people into like powdered blood on other fucking planets and like basically harvesting that. And then they showed them like using it to like lay in baths now and stay young looking.
Well, they had that
I
Newsweek.
was like, yo, what the
that Newsweek cover last year, is young blood the fountain of youth? So look at all the bet billions on it. When Ambrosia was already running. Ambrosia was running, which Ambrosia is the drink of the gods, right? And Ambrosia was running for how many years and then got shut down, but they're back up and running. Sorry, we just went into almost adrenochrome shit.
I know. I was going to say we're like closer.
Now
we can wrap it up here anyway.
you kicked off YouTube when you say shit like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Well, I'm gonna be. Totally honest with you. With like yesterday when we streamed the Jehovah's Witness thing, I put all 3 of our episodes together and just live streamed it out. I think 2 hours after it was on YouTube, I took it down myself because I was just like, there was probably too much said in that I guarantee you in a fucking right week, my YouTube would be down because of something that we.
Even right there, New World.
Say that again.
The New World Order, man. This is a Jehovah's Bible. My grandpa left this
nice.
to me. The New World Translation. Is the New World Order, the Jehovah's Witness guy, you guys know that, right? That is tombstone is a big pyramid.
Yeah, we covered that on the series that we did.
Yeah, you did.
They just took it down recently. They just took it down not too long ago.
Did they?
Yeah, that's what Jack told me from somebody else.
Cage, he's got a big pyramid down there in New Orleans for his tomb.
Oh, and so did fucking
I guess they can't take a man's last breath. They can't take a man's last resting place. That's how they couldn't. How the IRS couldn't take old Nicolas Cage's tomb down there in New Orleans. They took everything else.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm gonna get myself buried in the basement. That's where I'm getting buried. So.
That's great.
Hey,
I think what? I think we'll wrap it up there too because it's about an hour and a half now.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, I had a fucking blast. It actually, like I said, I think it worked out probably better than we expected.
I microdose some mushrooms and go deeper in on this energy thing.
Let everybody know again where they could find your stuff. Let them
anywhere you listen to a podcast, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. You go to Facebook.com/RainedOutRantCast with the number 1. Put that on there. That's the main page. We got the group Facebook.com/RainedOutCrew, I believe. Twitter @RainedOutRant. On Clubhouse a lot lately. You can look up RantCast on there. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So, people, if you like this, please like, subscribe, share, pass it on to your friends. Definitely go check out his show. He's also you pretty much probably worked with a lot of the same people I have as well, right? Too.
For the most part, I mean, I
know you have you've had plenty of other different guests as well, but
yeah.
Just saying, if people who listen to the NY Patriot show, if you like this,
I rant a lot.
Yeah, I love it.
But I mean, Patriot there, he's pretty good at it.
But I was gonna say, so if you guys like my show, I'm sure you might get something out of his as well. So definitely go check out his stuff. His links, I think, are already even in here in the live stream. So please
watching on my stuff there.
Nice.
Yeah, you got to check out Occult Rejects. I've talked about you guys before, but
thank you.
Their stuff
seriously.
and start from episode 1.
Yeah. Yeah, for
That's
real.
like right now I'm listening to Bill Cooper's Mysteries of the Babylon
Oh, nice.
Religion on Spotify. It's 42 hours long,
Yeah.
and it is amazing. I'm going back and listening to it again.
I will say though, if and I always actually do plug the Cult Rejects. If you do go back and listen to our old stuff, and like I'm saying, if this is your first time hearing the NY Patriot show, I do also have another show, the Occult Rejects. The links will be in the bottom. If you take the advice of Chris, and if you go back and start listening to us from part 1, it will sound like me and Lux recorded with tin cans and a string.
Doesn't matter. The
I know,
audio, I think, is good.
Just bear with us. Within a few episodes, you will hear a difference in quality, but we were just dealing with what we could at the time. But I definitely do say listen from first show on, and I think maybe other stuff might make a little bit more sense.
Stuff that will blow your mind, even if you think they cover some shit that is like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So so that is the end of another I guess NY Patriot show that we had with Lux and RantCast on. This was live. Thank you everybody who happened to be watching on my end. I appreciate it. A couple of people commented. That's awesome. Start keeping a lookout. Might start doing lives more often, and they might end up being pretty good, just like this one. I thought this was actually a really good fucking episode, and me and Chris were just like, yo, you just want to jump on in a few hours? Fucking awesome. So
I got rained out at work. Rained out, so I had a little bit of time.
So definitely keep in mind that we may start just popping up with some new live streams. So thanks to everybody listening. And until the next one, everybody be well and later.
Peace.